wolves relentlessly pressure their target with wave after wave of pursuit. The pack moves like a coordinated storm, rapidly closing the distance. Sudden changes in direction gradually erase every chance of escape. Even other predators remain cautious when the wolves begin to accelerate. And as the chase reaches its peak, which side will finally give in first? Wolves are among the most highly organized predators in the Northern Hemisphere, ranging from taiga forests and rocky mountains to frozen grasslands. With adult weights reaching around 100 pounds, they track scent, footprints, and shifting wind patterns through remarkably sharp instincts. Through precise coordination and strong pack discipline, wolves do more than create pressure. They keep entire ecosystems active, alert, and constantly adapting. Because of this, wolves remain a vital link in preserving the balance and movement of the wild. In North America, caribou are a symbol of endurance and long-distance migration. They often travel more than 1,000 miles each year, crossing deep snow, powerful winds, and vast open terrain with almost no shelter. An adult can weigh around 400 pounds, with wide hooves built for soft snow, thick fur for insulation, and massive antlers that stand out across the frozen wilderness. That migration route frequently brings caribou into wolf territory, especially during winter, when energy becomes increasingly valuable. Wolf packs do not rely on strength alone. They observe quietly, keep their distance, and study the movement of the herd with patience. Their gray-white coats blend into the snow, allowing them to close the gap before applying pressure to the herd. As the terrain shifts into rough snow ridges, confusion begins to spread. The caribou repeatedly change direction, while the herd formation stretches apart in the freezing wind. The wolves quickly accelerate, creating invisible pressure that separates the group. With careful timing, the hunters force an isolated target farther behind before moving in with precise control. The pursuit finally comes to an end across the endless white landscape. But when summer arrives, the grasslands reveal a different confrontation. As the snow disappears and the terrain opens up, caribou often gather in massive herds across open fields. Wolves rarely ignore this opportunity, especially when a younger animal drifts away from the group. For a lone wolf, pursuing a full-grown caribou demands enormous energy and endurance. Through persistence and remarkable stamina, the wolves gradually gain the advantage. It is another lesson of survival repeatedly written across the wild. Ungulates have always held a vital place in the gray wolf's diet. In Yellowstone, elk remain one of the wolves' most important food sources, accounting for many of their successful hunts. But elk are far from defenseless. Standing nearly 5 feet tall at the shoulder and carrying antlers that can spread close to 4 feet wide, they are powerful enough to make even grizzly bears cautious during tense encounters. Yellowstone becomes a winter refuge for elk, where snow blankets the valleys and every movement drains valuable energy. As the herd pushes across deep snow, the wolves do not charge directly into the center formation. Instead, they burst forward in short accelerations reaching nearly 35 miles per hour, then quickly change angles to identify the weakest rhythm within the herd. The objective is never the entire group, but a single animal that falls slightly behind amid the chaos of movement. One wolf applies pressure from the flank, while another maintains pursuit from behind, forcing the elk to change direction across the heavy snow. Just one moment of lost balance can shift the outcome completely. The pursuit ends quickly, much like the unforgiving rhythm of winter itself. But nature sometimes creates opportunity in unexpected ways. A lone elk, closely followed by wolves, accidentally moves near a bison grazing ground. Driven by strong territorial instincts, the bison suddenly surge forward, leaving the elk vulnerable for a brief moment. The wolves immediately recognize the advantage. A rare source of energy like this can help sustain the pack through many difficult days of unsuccessful hunting. The intelligence of wolves lies in their ability to read the environment and adapt their strategy with precision. Watching a disciplined wolf pack in motion feels like witnessing one of nature's most perfectly coordinated systems at work. If caribou symbolize migration, then bison represent the enduring giants of the North American plains. They are the largest land mammals on the continent, with adult males weighing more than 1,000 pounds and carrying massive muscle structure, along with curved horns reaching nearly 2 feet in length. For wolves, bison are not easy targets, but a relentless test between pack strategy and raw power. During the Yellowstone winter, the howl of the lead wolf echoes across the frozen landscape, signaling the beginning of another search for food. More than 20 wolves move in formation under the guidance of experienced pack leaders. As deep snow makes grass increasingly difficult to reach, the bison spend longer periods feeding and gradually become less alert. That is when the wolves begin selecting older and weaker adults as potential targets. No reckless charge takes place. The wolves spread out, maintain distance, and constantly shift direction to test the reactions of their target. The bison immediately turn to face the threat. lowering their heads and using bodies weighing over 1,000 pounds like living barriers. One sudden movement from horns nearly 12 inches long can force a predator backward in an instant. But as exhaustion slowly drains the target's strength, the wolves begin relying on coordinated pressure and precise timing. Even an attempted rescue from another bison unintentionally disrupts the herd's formation, creating the critical moment the wolves had been waiting for. Another encounter becomes even more intense when a young bison falls behind while crossing a river. Behind it, the wolves surge through the water with remarkable swimming ability, applying steady pressure as the young animal struggles to keep pace with the herd. But the bond between mother and calf on the plains is not easily broken. The mother quickly turns back, placing herself between the young bison and the pursuing predators. The mother's powerful defensive response forces the wolves to retreat. And this time, the pack's hunting strategy gives way to the mother's successful defense. Wolves may fail in a single encounter, but they rarely abandon an entire hunting season. Because in nature, victory does not always belong to the strongest, but to the species that knows when to wait for the right moment. In the wild, dominance is measured not only by strength, but also by scent, tracks, and territorial boundaries. The grizzly bear is an opponent that very few predators are willing to challenge directly. An adult can weigh hundreds of pounds, run close to 40 miles per hour, and carry claws nearly 2 inches long that serve as powerful natural defense tools. Because of this, gray wolves rarely rush into direct confrontation with a grizzly bear. When winter drives temperatures lower, every unit of energy becomes increasingly valuable. Wolf packs often rely on harassment tactics, spreading out from multiple directions, moving in close, then quickly retreating to force the bear to constantly reposition itself. Encounters like these rarely produce a clear winner. They resemble a cold and calculated contest, where the bear depends on strength while the wolves apply patience, coordination, and sustained pressure. In Yellowstone, a smaller but equally agile rival of the wolf is the coyote. When a coyote enters wolf territory or approaches a food source, the pack immediately closes the distance and controls its movement. In the wild, maintaining control over living space can be just as important as the hunt itself. Beneath the Arctic sky, where temperatures can fall close to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, the survival of wolf pups depends on the discipline and endurance of the adults. To feed the young before the harsh winter fully arrives, the pack must patrol territories spanning more than 400 square miles, sometimes traveling nearly 30 miles in a single day while searching for food. Across the endless white snowfields, one of their rivals is the Arctic hare, a species capable of reaching speeds near 37 miles per hour. As the hare constantly changes direction through sharp, zigzag movements, the wolves do not chase blindly. Instead, they spread out their formation, cut off escape angles, and attempt to guide the target toward deeper snow where movement becomes more difficult. The first pursuit may fail, but for wolves, failure is never the end. Every slip, every lost track becomes information for the next attempt. In a place where winter leaves almost no room for mistakes, true strength does not come from a single burst of speed, but from the ability to learn quickly, coordinate precisely, and persist until the final moment. With just a single directional lock at the start, the prey is left with almost no path to escape. As the entire pack closes in at once, even other predators struggle to turn away in time. The wild dog is not the strongest, but it rarely acts as a scattered individual. That coordinated formation is what makes it one of the most efficient hunting packs in nature. What turns the wild dog into a true tactical nightmare of the wild? As the first light spreads across the Masai Mara, the wild dog's hunt begins again. Ahead of them, a herd of wildebeest moves through rising dust. A single adult can weigh over 500 pounds, large enough to resist being easily overpowered. Against such a target, wild dogs cannot rely on a single burst of speed. They look for an individual out of position, slower, mistiming a turn, or pushed away from the herd's safety. When the opportunity appears, the pack spreads out, maintains distance, and applies pressure from multiple directions in turn. This rotating pursuit strategy, combined with remarkable endurance, allows them to reach a hunting success rate of up to around 80% under favorable conditions. But their true strength is not just speed, it is discipline within the formation. Victory does not belong only to the fastest, but to the pack that waits for the right moment. In the harsh, semi-arid regions, the oryx stands as a symbol of endurance. Weighing around 450 pounds and equipped with straight horns over 3 feet long, it represents a true survivor of the wild. A single, well-timed lowering of its head is often enough to make many predators hesitate. Yet when driven by the need to survive, the African wild dog may still choose such a challenging target. The encounter often begins when a lone oryx moves away from the safety of its group. At first, its composure helps maintain the advantage. It pivots, lowers its head, and responds firmly to any wild dog that approaches too closely. But that advantage does not last forever. Wild dogs do not confront the horns directly. They spread out, approach from multiple angles, and withdraw the moment the oryx turns to respond. As the encounter continues, the oryx's defensive rhythm begins to slow, while the pack gradually gains access to space behind it. The result of such a hunt provides a significant source of energy, enough to sustain the entire pack after a demanding effort. The spotted hyena is one of the toughest rivals on the African savanna. Weighing around 190 pounds, with powerful jaws and remarkable endurance, it is not just an opportunistic feeder, but a direct competitor to the African wild dog within the same territory. In that wild landscape, the two sides constantly clash over food, space, and control of the hunting rhythm. As the wild dogs finish a chase and the pack gathers around the result, silhouettes of hyenas begin to appear along the edge of the low grass. At first, it is only a cautious approach, but as more individuals join, the pressure quickly shifts. With nearly double the body mass advantage, the hyenas begin to assert themselves. They close in step by step, using persistence and collective weight to wear down the distance. But wild dogs rarely give up a meal without a response. The pack activates a coordinated, multi-point system, maintaining space through short, controlled vocal signals. One side relies on overwhelming strength, the other on speed and seamless cohesion. With bursts reaching about 44 miles per hour, the wild dogs shift direction constantly, applying pressure to any hyena that falls out of sync, then pulling back at the right moment. As a result, the outcome is often decided not by a final overpowering push, but by which side loses rhythm first. For the wild dogs, holding on to a meal also means holding on to a chance for the entire pack to survive. In Africa, the warthog appears as a small but resilient animal. An adult can weigh around 200 pounds, and its curved tusks make it a difficult target to approach. Although it often lives in family groups, it maintains a high level of defensive awareness, especially when young are nearby. For the African wild dog, this is not a hunt that can be resolved by speed alone. The pack must read every opening, every movement, and every moment when the warthog shifts away from a safe position. They do not charge directly, but spread out, approach from multiple sides, then pull back at the right time to avoid defensive reactions. The encounter builds gradually as the prey changes direction repeatedly, trying to maintain distance from the pack. But wild dogs are known for sustaining pressure. When one individual falls out of rhythm, the formation closes in, turning coordination into a decisive advantage. On the African plains, the African wild dog often targets medium-sized antelope. Among them, the impala remains one of the most frequent. Fast, highly agile, and capable of sharp directional changes, the impala can reach about 50 miles per hour in short bursts, enough to throw many predators off rhythm within the first few seconds. For that reason, wild dogs rarely commit to an uncalculated chase. They often select individuals that drift from the herd, then activate the coordinated hunting pattern that defines the pack. One group follows from behind, another cuts across the escape route, while the rest maintain pressure to gradually close down the running space. Despite weighing only around 80 pounds, wild dogs possess long legs, large lungs, and exceptional endurance. They do not need to win with the first burst of speed. They succeed by sustaining the pursuit longer than their opponent can endure. As the impala begins to tire, it still attempts to change direction, slip into dense brush, or move toward water for support. But experienced wild dog packs do not rush. They spread out, adjust direction, and even enter the water when needed, tightening the rhythm of the chase to its final moments. The surface breaks, and the margin for escape continues to narrow. It is this strategy of wearing down movement through constant pressure that creates the difference. As a result, wild dogs have become one of the most persistent threats to African antelope. Along river systems, crocodiles are masters of ambush at the boundary between water and land. With one of the strongest bite forces ever recorded among living animals, they turn the river's edge into one of the most dangerous places on the savanna. For wild dogs, that risk often appears when a hunt is pushed close to the water. Prey may rush into the shallows in search of escape, while the pack must decide in an instant whether to maintain pressure or pull back from a high-risk zone. At times, crocodiles are ready to take advantage of that moment. A mistake occurs when a few wild dogs move too close to the water's edge to drink. In a brief lapse of awareness, the hidden ambusher surges forward with remarkable speed, and the most vulnerable individual is held in place. Yet the pack does not abandon one of its own. They send warning signals and attempt to assist the individual in breaking free. In those tense seconds, their coordination creates a rare window of escape. At Africa's water margins, even highly skilled predators can face consequences if their focus slips. The lion stands as a symbol of power on the African savanna. Weighing around 420 pounds, with strong muscles and forceful advances, It is a presence that most other predators approach with caution. For the African wild dog, this is not only a major rival within the same territory, but also a direct threat to pups and the future of the entire pack. Many encounters begin when wild dogs are hunting in areas patrolled by a male lion. A single unexpected appearance is enough to disrupt their formation. From that moment, the rhythm of the hunt shifts into one of escape. Each foraging effort becomes more cautious. If they detect the scent or silhouette of a lion nearby, wild dogs are ready to abandon their catch to maintain distance, understanding that some opponents cannot be challenged through risk alone. But when it comes to protecting their young or a hard-earned meal, wild dogs respond with deliberate pressure. When facing a solitary lioness or one with cubs, a pack of 15 to 20 individuals may surround from multiple directions. They vocalize, move in, then withdraw quickly with speed. Rather than confronting directly, they turn the space around the lion into a constantly shifting maze. The lion is powerful, but it is not built for extended pursuits. Wild dogs recognize that slowing rhythm and increase pressure through endurance and coordinated discipline. The encounter often ends when the lion chooses to withdraw, conserving energy. In the wild world, wolves stand as a symbol of pack strategy. They maintain steady pressure with remarkable endurance, gradually testing the animal's stamina over time. Even larger predators rarely underestimate a pack of wolves. If you enjoy the wild world, be sure to follow the channel for more unforgettable encounters from nature.